So the idea came because I was part of these meetings with all these other clients of NetSuite, and we were helping NetSuite to build a roadmap for the system. Catchy phrase, like bring it, like bring the knowledge, right? Bring it. And the other one, it was kind of bring IT, information technology, right, into the conversation. So
What is one thing that you wish somebody have told you before starting Bring IT now that you look on to this 10 years?
I mean, when we moved from the US to Mexico first, then to Panama, then to Spain, Colombia, Brazil, Chile, Netherlands, UK. Every time we go to a new market.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 360 Room. I'm very happy and glad to be joined by Omar Palacios, Bring IT's CEO and co-founder. Hi, Omar. How are you?
Very good, Aldo. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you for joining us. Today marks actually this whole year, this whole month marks the 10th anniversary of Bring IT, just so everybody knows in the audience. And Omar is going to be sharing some insights, some advice, and some experiences from when, how Bring IT was born, and then from his own personal experience. So let's get straight into topic, Omar. I want to ask you, where did the original idea for Bring IT came from when you started, the company?
No, the idea it's an idea that started because I was part of an organization that was out of San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and they hired me to help them go IPO. This company used to build Bluetooth speakers, Bluetooth headsets, and wearable devices, and I was their head of information systems and technology. And they wanted me to help them out to select an ERP to help them go IPO. And I selected NetSuite, so I was part of the selection process for NetSuite, and then I was part of the implementation process for NetSuite. The company was a larger account for NetSuite at the time, and then I became part of the customer advisory board. When I was part of the customer advisory board, then I realized that there was not a lot of partners really servicing NetSuite. It was mainly the NetSuite professional services team. And keep in mind, this is before Oracle. This is between 2013 and 2015. So it was NetSuite professional services, and only a few, channel partners, right, reselling licenses. So the idea came because I was part of these meetings with all these other clients of NetSuite, and we were helping NetSuite to build a roadmap for the system. And everyone was bringing new ideas, and they were trying to use NetSuite in very different ways, right? I mean, so it was very obvious that someone with, let's say, some technical background, but also some business background, could help these other companies, right, to make sure that they use the system in the best way possible, or in the best manner possible, right? So that's where the idea came. So I mean, again, I was working for another company, but I saw the opportunity to provide services to these companies, right? And that's how the idea of having a professional services company came into my mind. And that just started brewing there for a couple of years before we actually pulled the trigger.
Nice. So, I think you're coming from the own customer shoes, right? So you were selected on the customer advisory board because of your experience. So that tells us you're coming from the customer shoes. So very interesting. And just kind of a hint for our audience, where did the name came from? Bring IT.
Bring IT, well, because I was in charge of information systems and information technologies, which is IT. And I thought of a catchy phrase like bring it, like bring the knowledge, right? Bring it. And the other one, it was kind of bring IT, information technology, right, into the conversation. So we could help, these clients, right, to optimize their system, right, to optimize NetSuite and the way they were using it. So, and that's why I kind of wanted to have this catchy phrase, and that's why I can bring IT. Again, more of a bring it, like let's go, and the other one was just bring, the services, bring the IT technology group.
Yeah, bring IT, bring it. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the ecosystem. It's a very catchy name, so they really like it, and I think it was a very clever way to name a company. So kudos on that.
Yeah.
So you talked about the original idea, how it came from being on the customer's shoes, the naming, etc. I want to talk about fears, and whenever you're going to start something new, it always comes up. What was that kind of big fear that you had, and how did you push through it?
Yeah, I mean, I think one big fear that I had at the time, right, was, I mean, again, like I said, I was thinking about this idea of becoming a, professional services company for a couple of years before we actually did it, because we only started providing services when Oracle decided to acquire NetSuite. So they give the letter of intent. And then I thought, okay, there's no ERP in the cloud, today. That was 2015, towards the end. Maybe there's a chance here, right, where Oracle actually, uses, NetSuite as a platform to grow versus, just acquire them to kill the competition, right? And so we took the leap of faith on, there's no ERP in the cloud. So Oracle is the biggest software company in the world. They will put a lot of money to develop the product and to make sure that it's successful. And so that the first fear was, how do we make sure that we capitalize on this opportunity, right? And the second one, I mean, the fear of failure, of course, right? I mean, we created Bring IT on the side, with the partners that founded the company. We were five, and we created Bring IT, having a full time job, and hoping to obviously at some point be able to leave that full time job to be full time into Bring IT. So we created this company and started working, extra hours, weekends, and on the side, just how everything starts in an apartment out of Oakland, and that's how we started, right? That's how we started, and just that failure, right? Like, okay, if it fails, then of course, then you're putting a lot of effort and energy, and so we had to really start working on a plan on how to scale and how to generate enough revenue so we can, dedicate ourselves fully to the company. And I think those were the
Yeah.
first two fears that we had.
And I would say more than fears is kind of an opportunity, right? Because you kind of seize that opportunity. Again, coming back from what you told us previously, you came from the customer's shoes, you experienced that pain from like, I don't have anybody that can guide me through that digital transformation journey. And then you tackle that. And I think for all the audience that is listening to this is kind of more identifying an opportunity, seize it, and then go after that. I think this kind of 10 years, 20, 30 years, it's going to continue be doing that. So thank you for sharing. If you can think about that straight moment of, oh, okay, now we have a company, that fear slash opportunity, what is one thing that you wish somebody have told you before starting Bring IT now that you look on to this 10 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, think and feel that, hey, you have a company, you probably, have a lot of perks, and you have a big salary, and you have all this really cool life, but there's a lot of work. It's completely the opposite, right? You're working very long hours, you're learning every day, you're trying to really put your best foot forward. And I wish people will tell me, hey, Rome is not built in one day. You cannot grow that fast. So we could have, good traction, but in a more structured way. And I do remember, and still, until today, right? I mean, the growth was, very, very fast. And then so you grow and you have no processes, you have no standards, you have, all the knowledge in a group of people. and that is very hard, right, to control. And so I wish someone would have told me, hey, you need to plan on this, because if it really starts growing, you will need the structure to grow and to not be, kind of, you know, having issues, right? I mean, with things, and so I think that was it's very cool to see the company grow very fast, but at a certain point you have to stop, step back and really think on, okay, what is the best process? What are the best, practices? How we have to implement? And again, this is, I think, where we are today, right? Starting to look into the mirror and then look outside and see how we can get better. But at the beginning, all you're thinking is on the top line, right? Let's grow, 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 revenue, revenue, revenue. And then obviously it comes and bites you, right? Because when people start joining and then you have a bigger team, they're expecting something from the company, right? Not only from the person that is hiring them. And I think that's a tough challenge.
Absolutely. And I think, with how we're seeing the world moving ahead and with new technologies, new customer needs, it's what every IT professional services firm is dealing with. So I think the fact that you've been able to grow and then continue that pace over the 10 years speaks about continuity, but then as well, responsibility. And I think it's the due diligence really to what helps you continue to grow. So I'm going to summarize the two next questions. It's more kind of like you talked about the moment where you realized that the ecosystem needed this type of services. But then obviously, right, the world has changed in this 10 years. What are some unexpected challenges or surprises along the way, positive or negative, that you've found throughout this journey, personally and then as well from a Bring IT perspective?
I think personally, to me, still is surprising, and in a way, it's amazing to learn something new. With every client, every 6 months that the Oracle releases some new features. With the new partners, there's a lot of new partners. When we started back in 2015, there was just a handful of partners. Today, there's a couple of hundred partners just in North America. And so the competition, right, is fierce. There's a lot of very smart people out there. And when you compete in a friendly way, of course, against them, you really have to, you know, get out of your
Step up the
comfort zone.
game.
Yeah, exactly. Get out of your comfort zone and do things, in a different way, right? Like what worked 10 years ago is not the same that works today, right? I mean, there's a lot more competition. There's a lot more knowledge in the market. There's less, available clients for everyone because there's more partners, right? So you have to really be top of mind. You have to be, on top of your game. And again, like to me, that's quite surprising, how much knowledge you can accumulate and how much knowledge is still out there that you don't have and that you can learn every day, or every couple of months. And to me, that's really interesting, right? Especially now, for example, with, as you're saying, every new technology, AI, and so on, like how things are moving, changing so fast. And that to me has been the case with NetSuite, right? Every 6 months, every 3 months, there's something new. Again, new competition, new markets, and that's been always very surprising in a positive way.
Untapped, yeah, untapped opportunities, right? Because
Yeah,
you've shown strength and force this 10 years. So I think it's going to continue that way. But as you said, it's not only the leadership, it's the people, it's the technology, it's the customers. So I think that
yeah.
is important. We talked about the challenges and unexpected, and I think you touched on a very important thing, the competitors. But let's move a little bit more onto the milestone. So, which milestone specifically on this 10 years are you really, really proud from a founder perspective? Which you thought, oh, I never thought this moment could come, but it's here. So this marks the biggest milestone so far.
I think there's a couple of milestones, but to me, one of the most important milestones was to be able to pay the founders a full-time salary. and become a full-time employee of Bring IT. And that took a couple of years. It was not immediately. But that's one of the most rewarding milestones to say the company is working. You can now really live out of your own, company. That's really good. And then the second one, right, is to be honest with you, every time we go into a new market, right? I mean, when we moved from the U.S. to Mexico first, then to Panama, then to Spain, Colombia, Brazil, Chile, Netherlands, UK. Uh, every time we go to a new market, that you meet new people, uh, you know, new talent that comes to work for you or with you. I mean, that's all the time. It's a new milestone, and that it's quite impressive. It's quite a nice feeling to see, and a big responsibility as well, right? Every new talent that comes work for the company and with you. Now it depends on some of your decisions, right, or most of your decisions. So it's very cool to see and feel, but it's also a big responsibility, right, to make sure that everything we do, helps the talent that we have in Bring IT.
Thank you, Omar. Yeah, I think Bring IT is, people. It's made out of people, talent, technology. I think it's always been said, and I think that's not the winning formula, but it's part of the DNA of working with customers, being able to expand to new markets. So
Yeah.
you must be feeling very proud.
I mean,
Um,
I want to add maybe another huge milestone, of course, is the first client, right? When we had the first client, I mean, that was a huge milestone. I was a client out of San Francisco. They were building drones for construction, and that was a huge milestone too. So I don't want to, put that one aside, because definitely having your first client, it's something super cool.
Obviously, because it means they believed in your vision. And just kind of as a side fact, how many customers do you have now at Bring IT?
I mean, throughout these 10 years, we probably have won about 800 to 850 engagements. Now, active clients, we have a little bit over 350 across the world, right? So we have 10 different locations, US being the largest one, but yeah, we have about 350 or a little bit more, right? I mean, active clients.
Yeah, isn't it that something you say, wow, when you look at this moment 10 years later? Wow, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I compare to obviously client number one versus clients today, yes, it's a big number, right? But like I said, then you have to step up your game as well, right? There's other companies there, other partners there that are bigger than us, and we have to look at them and learn from them as well, and they do the same, right? So I think it's a perspective, right? When you get starting, yes, 1, 5 is good, and then now it's like, how do we make sure that you know that we build long-term partnerships with our clients, and how do we make sure that they are all getting the return on investment, right, from what we do, so we can differentiate from other peers.
You're stealing my next question. So it's very much, we talked about competition, right? Not only NetSuite ecosystem, but other SaaS ecosystem getting bigger, more competitive, more specialized industry wise. So what role does the competition play at Bring IT? Does it distract you, motivate you? How do you see that?
Motivates and sometimes surprise us, right, because they do things that you never thought of it, or that they do it differently, that it's better, or it's just different, and it's for different audience, right? But I think definitely motivates us, because we always want to win. We always want to be there on the top of mind of all the clients, but also our partners, right? And you have to be the best, right? I mean, and sometimes and you recognize there's someone out there that is better than you, and then that makes you feel that hunger again, right? Like, how do I make sure that you know I can gain back some of that market share, right, that they took. I mean, one thing I will say, right? I think the competition in NetSuite it's fierce, but it's quite friendly, right? Nobody's really. I mean, at least with us, there's no partner that we feel they have bad blood against us or anything. It's just normal competition. It's fierce. It's in a way respectful and friendly, right? And we do the same, right? I mean, we play the same rules. But definitely, when you see someone, they're gaining market share, they are doing things different, they're doing things that are better than yours. I mean, it just ignites that fire, right, in you to how to okay, what do we do? What do we do now? What do we do now to make sure that we're still there, right, and we're not just afterthought.
Yeah, it keeps you forward, and then as well, it inspires you, and to your point, it makes you like say, what's next, right, on the landscape.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as we know, the Inc. 5000 is a list that not many companies reach out, specifically also not many NetSuite Alliance partners, right? Just a few. And you just made the list for the fifth year in a row, right? That means
Yes, very
you're
happy
one
about
of
that.
the fastest growing companies in the US for the fifth year in a row. How does that, what does that mean for you and for the team?
To me, it's a personal achievement. When we were featured as a first time in 5,000, let's say member, I wanted to get three, and then when I got three, I wanted to get five. So now we have five, and then we're aiming for 10, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, 10 and double, right? That but yeah, it feels good. I mean, um, it's a good achievement. To be on that list. Every year is harder because every year you're bigger, and then it's harder to keep the growth. But we're still there, right? And I'm sure it's gonna get harder and harder to be there because growing, you know, 100% when you're just starting is easy versus now that you have, 10 years, growing 100% is not easy, right? It's super hard, super difficult, and that's where also brings you, things to think of, right? I mean, what can we do different? How do we diversify? How do we, do, what else can we do, right? I mean, to make sure we keep the growth. So yeah, it feels great. It feels great as obviously as a leader, but as a company, I think it also says, that some of the decisions we've taken are the right ones, right? I mean, the market, the industries that we're selecting to be experts on. The type of IP that we're building, the type of partnership that we are selecting as well, the type of services, the quality that we can provide to our clients, right? I think it just every year that we win, it's also a recognition, right, to the team, right, to the executives that are working here, the managers, the talent that we have, the partners, and obviously our clients, right? Because without them, we couldn't be, growing. So I think it's just a confirmation of some of the things we've done that are good, and everyone recognizes that, right? Internally and externally, and then so we keep getting business, and that is super important. So I will say that's how I see it, right? From an individual perspective and from a company perspective, it's a joint and effort and collaboration from all the team members in Bring IT, but also everyone in the ecosystem, client, partners, and obviously technology that we're using and so on. So it feels good to be there.
Yeah, I really liked how humble and then human the vision of Bring IT is, where it comes, it's all about the people that you work with, all the way from the team, the customers, the partners. That it's what makes up a great ecosystem, and I'm sure that obviously, as you said, right, with economy and new partners, new competitions, it means it's a challenge, but you again are seeing it as an opportunity. So I won't be surprised if Bring IT comes in the 10th time, 20th time, or even,
Who knows?
Forbes. Yeah. So that would be awesome. Thank you for sharing. Omar, we're running short on time. I really appreciate you taking the time in your agenda to be here to share great insights with our audience. I have one last question for you, and that
Mhm.
is it's maybe more takeaway more than a question. So, last round is one lesson and one memory and one dream for the next 10 years.
The one lesson for me is, you have to surround yourself with people that know more than you in different aspects, of the business and your life to be able to get better at it. That will be the lesson, right? If you have people that it's helping you to develop and to grow, I mean, that's how you get better every day. And so that's something that I have. So that's the lesson. The memory,
You're getting emotional.
think, I think the memory, yeah, I think the memory for me, one of the best memories for me would be I mean, when we opened our first office, I think that was a pretty cool memory. When we opened our first office and just to say like, okay, now this is real. Now people are going to be working here. That was super cool. So that's a very good memory. And then good memory is just to see every talent that works at Bring IT that knows that at least from my point of view, right? I mean, if we really care about them, and yes, top line is important, bottom line is important, but at the end of the day, right, the most important asset in Bring IT, it's our talent. And when they are happy and when they tell you that they are happy, that they like to work for Bring IT, that's a really cool memory. That's a really cool feeling, but a really good memory as well. Um, and then a dream will be to be able to last another 10 years. Let's make it 20, and keep growing, keep innovating, and keep being one of the top partners in the ecosystem.
I'm sure that dream will come true more than that because this is a great team, great leadership, and great company. Omar, thank you so much for sharing with us. I appreciate, as I said, you taking the time. Very great insights. I'm very happy about this chat with you, and we'll continue to build up on momentum and looking where the team is going and where I think so. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Aldo. Really appreciate the time. I like the conversation, and yes, very good to see you as well.
Thank you, Omar. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks.